30 feet beneath the burning streets of Berlin, the most feared man in Europe kneels on a concrete floor, feeding poison to his own dog. It is April 29th, 1945. In less than 24 hours, Adolf Hitler will be dead. A midnight wedding, a final betrayal, a last meal, one bullet. These are his last 24 hours, hour by hour. 8 meters underground, the Führer bunker, 30 tiny rooms, damp and humming with diesel. For weeks, Hitler has lived down here like a ghost, pale, stooped, his left hand trembling so badly he hides it behind his back. Above him, 1 million Soviet soldiers are crushing Berlin street by street. The empire built to last 1,000 years now measures a few city blocks. Just after midnight, Hitler does something nobody expects. He gets married. In a cramped map room, he weds Eva Braun, the woman he hid from the public for 14 years. When she signs the papers, she starts writing her old name, crosses it out, and writes Eva Hitler for the first and only time. The guests sip champagne while the ceiling shakes from artillery. It is a wedding inside a tomb. An hour later, he is pacing his study, dictating his last will to his secretary, Traudl Junge. She expects a confession. Instead, he blames everyone but himself, expels Goering and Himmler as traitors, and names a successor. Hours from death, he is still issuing orders to a world that has stopped listening. Morning, April 29th. At the map table, Hitler moves markers for armies that no longer exist. 3 couriers slip out through the burning city carrying his testament, and one desperate radio message goes out. Where is Wenck's army? When will they attack? No answer will ever come. That afternoon, news arrives that changes everything. Mussolini, his oldest ally, has been executed, his body strung up in a Milan square for crowds to abuse. Hitler is horrified. His own body, he orders, must never fall into enemy hands. Which brings us back to the dog. That evening, a cyanide capsule is tested on Blondie, his beloved German shepherd. She dies in seconds. Hitler stares at her for a long moment and says nothing at all. Near midnight, he shuffles down the corridor to say goodbye, shaking hands with secretaries, cooks, officers, his eyes glassy. And then something surreal happens. Upstairs in the canteen, people start dancing. The Führer is preparing to die, and his own staff throw a party. He sends word to quiet down. They keep dancing. April 30th, dawn. The final briefing is brutal. The Soviets are 500 meters away. One street. Hitler nods, strangely calm. He orders 200 liters of petrol carried up to the garden. Then he sits down to his last meal, spaghetti with tomato sauce, chatting quietly with his secretaries. He never once mentions what comes next. 3:30 in the afternoon. The farewells are over. Hitler and Eva step into his study, and the door closes. In the corridor, the staff wait, listening to the hum of the ventilation. Then, a single gunshot. Inside, Hitler is dead on the sofa. Eva sits beside him, poisoned. The 1,000-year Reich will outlive its creator by exactly 1 week. Guards carry the bodies up to the garden, lay them in a shell crater, drench them in petrol, and strike a match, while Soviet shells still fall around them. No monument, no grave, just black smoke over a dying city. Within days, Berlin surrenders. Within a week, the war in Europe is over. Hitler spent his last 24 hours the way he spent his entire life, blaming others and destroying everything near him. The man who demanded to be remembered for 1,000 years ended as ash in a shallow crater, in the city he destroyed.